Paris, Monday morning, August 21st, 1911. As the city went to work, three men slipped out of the Louvre Museum carrying a small piece of poplar wood, just 77 by 53 centimeters, completely hidden under a blanket. By 8:45 a.m., they had boarded a train and vanished, taking a highly valuable piece of French government property with them. The mastermind of the operation was Vincenzo Peruggia, a museum employee and an Italian nationalist who believed the artifact belonged in his home country. He had stolen the Mona Lisa, triggering a massive international manhunt. Scores of detectives were put on the case, and the story dominated newspaper headlines around the globe. But here is the strange part. Before those headlines went to print, the general public had virtually no idea what the Mona Lisa was. It was this true crime saga, complete with a missing artifact and a desperate global search, that propelled the portrait into the public consciousness, which raises a question. If the world's most famous painting only gained its title because of a true crime news cycle, is it actually a masterpiece, or just the beneficiary of incredible media hype? Leonardo da Vinci was an obsessive anatomist, a botanist, and a pioneer of optical science. When he began a portrait of Lisa Giocondo, the wife of a Florentine silk merchant, he poured all of those scientific disciplines into perfecting her image. Experts actually believe he worked on another version of the portrait. Known as the Isleworth Mona Lisa, this painting depicts a much younger woman. Notice how her expression in the earlier version is direct and easy to read, framed by clear architectural columns. Now look at the final Louvre version, where those solid boundaries completely dissolve into something much harder to define. This progression shows that the portrait we know today was a deliberate, highly iterative scientific project. If you look at it closely today, the colors seem flat and yellow. That is the result of a thick protective varnish and centuries of chemical bleaching. Beneath that dull layer lies Da Vinci's true innovation, sfumato. It's a technique of blending colors so softly that there are no distinct outlines. Look right where her hair meets the landscape. The two completely melt into each other. To understand exactly how to paint flesh so accurately, Da Vinci spent nights in Florentine hospitals dissecting cadavers. He spent intense periods cataloging the tiny, numerous muscles and nerves around the mouth, comparing them to animals like horses to see exactly how they interact to form a physical expression. He was using the wooden panel to reverse engineer the biological mechanics of the human smile. His research extended past anatomy into optics. He realized that light rays don't merge into a single point in our eyes, but instead spread out across the entire retina. This diagram shows exactly what he was exploiting. Right in the center of the retina is the fovea, the area responsible for picking up sharp, fine details. The outer peripheral regions, however, process shadows and broader gradients. When you stare directly at Lisa's mouth, your fovea locks onto the sharpest detail, the flat, nearly straight line dividing her lips. She looks entirely serious. But the moment you look away, perhaps up at her eyes, your peripheral vision takes over. It registers the soft, blurred shadows created by his sfumato technique, which curve upward at the edges of her mouth. Suddenly, she appears to smile. Da Vinci intentionally built an interactive image. By manipulating the physical way the human eye processes light, he engineered a portrait that alters its expression depending on where you focus. 2 years after stealing it, Vincenzo Peruggia lost his patience. He was arrested while trying to sell the painting to an art dealer in Florence. On January 4th, 1914, the portrait was returned to the walls of the Louvre. Only this time, it carried the scrutiny and fascination of the entire world. What started as a scientific experiment on a small piece of poplar wood is now permanently sealed in a strict climate-controlled box behind thick, bulletproof glass. Today, its value is estimated at nearly $1 billion, drawing relentless crowds of people who gather to catch a glimpse of a woman they feel they know. Vincenzo Peruggia's theft certainly gave the Mona Lisa the spotlight, but Leonardo da Vinci's precise fusion of anatomy, shadow, and optical physics ensured that once we started looking,